Welcome to Friday's devotions. We're in Genesis chapter 11 and looking at the story of the Tower of Babel. So, Genesis 11 and verse 1. Now, the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we will be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, so we may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of the earth. Amen. As we consider the story here, this building of the Tower of Babel, initial reading might make us think that it's not a very wrong thing that they were doing in building a tower and wanting to stay together. But in many ways, it was a monument to sin. It was first of all a monument to pride. They said we'll reach into the heavens, we'll reach up to God. And that is surely man's big problem, is that too much confidence in self. And many people think that they can reach into heaven by their good works or their religious deeds. We can reach up to God. And man puts himself in the place of God and thinks he can do that which only God can do. It's always a very dangerous thing to have that sort of attitude. And so it was a monument to pride. Secondly, it was a monument to rebellion. The people had been told to spread across the world, to go and fill the world. But here we have these people wanting to stay together as one group and not to fulfill God's command. And so, with this rebellion against God and his purposes. And maybe in your own heart, in your own life, there's something God is wanting you to do and you're refusing, you're saying no to it. And in many ways, as we think of the pride and the rebellion here, it's in such contrast to Jesus. Think of Philippians 2, it speaks about his humility and coming down. And coming down and being obedient all the way to the cross. Humility and obedience. Two of the great marks of Jesus. Are we showing those in our lives instead of pride and rebellion? But then we see in this passage in verses 5 to 9 the action of God. God comes down to examine what's going on. Nothing is hidden from the eyes of God. God does take an interest in what people do. And when people sin, it doesn't go unnoticed before the Lord. And God comes down and he confuses their language. God comes and he speaks about what will be their capability. And one of the things he speaks about how they have so much capability is of one language able to communicate with each other. And by confusing their languages, giving them different languages, God was in many ways just restraining evil and what it can do. And we look around the world and we see so much evil. And people say, well, why can a God of love not stop all this? Why does a God of love allow these things to happen? One of the things that maybe should amaze us is that not that there's more evil. Why is there not more evil things that can happen? And all around, God is restraining evil left, right and centre. Things would be a lot worse if God took off the hand of restraint. God restrains people with governments, put in place, with family structure, with a fear of God, and many other ways God restrains evil, left, right, and centre. And so God confuses the language here to restrain evil and to hold back the capability of evil. But the other thing God does here is to scatter these people. He scatters them abroad. In verses 8 and 9, he caused them to go to do what they had been told to do, to go and fill the whole world. And you know, in life we can do things the easy way or the hard way. We can listen to God and obey him, and if we don't listen to him, God has his ways of causing people to obey. And maybe as we think of this command to scatter, maybe we should think of the spiritual equivalent, which we mentioned was to the Great Commission, and to go and make disciples of all nations. I remember years ago when I was at university, and that sense of God calling me to be involved in outreach. I put it off. I was afraid to do it, and God, in a sense, had to teach me the hard way and bring me through trial to then cause me to be involved. And it was one of the most wonderful blessings of my time at university to be involved in that outreach. And you know, we fear holds us back, and we think we know better than God. Listen, we follow God's will, we follow God's call. We'll not be the loser. God is no man's debtor, and God will bless in wonderful ways. So heed the voice of God. Don't learn the hard way. Heed God's voice. Obey his commands. Do what he calls you to do when you have the opportunity. Just let me say very quickly that next week we'll be taking a break from Genesis. We're going to do a thing starting on Sunday morning, Colossians, the book of Colossians, in a week. So Sunday morning, and then Monday to Friday, each morning in the devotions, Wednesday night at midweek, and then finishing the following Sunday, we'll be going through the book of Colossians in 1 week. So I encourage you to follow along with these each day, and read maybe the book of Colossians preparation before Sunday. I think it'll be a benefit to you if you did that at least once. Maybe do it 2 times would be even better. God bless. Have a good weekend.